Everybody wants to know how to earn more during SealM Season 3, but almost nobody is talking about the real problem. Most players are wasting time farming the wrong content, upgrading the wrong gear, and following strategies that only work for hardcore grinders. Meanwhile, smarter players are quietly stacking progress every single day without even playing that long. And honestly, that's what makes SealM interesting right now. It's not just about grinding harder, it's about grinding smarter. So in this video, I'm going to break down the best beginner farming strategies for Season 3, the biggest mistakes new players keep making, and how you can build a simple routine that actually gives you a chance to compete for rewards without burning yourself out after 3 days. The first thing you need to understand is that SealM rewards consistency way more than random hardcore sessions. A lot of new players jump into the game thinking they need to farm mobs for 10 straight hours immediately, but that's usually the fastest way to destroy your motivation. The players progressing the fastest right now are the ones logging in daily, completing efficient activities, and slowly building account strength over time. That's why daily quests are probably the most important system for beginners. They look simple, but they quietly give you stable progression, materials, event points, and resources that become extremely valuable later. Skipping dailies might not seem like a big deal on day one, but after a week, the difference becomes massive. Another huge mistake, beginners make is farming maps that look cool instead of maps that are actually efficient. This happens in almost every MMORPG. Players see stronger monsters and immediately assume the rewards must be better. But in reality, if you're killing mobs too slowly or constantly using resources just to survive, your farming efficiency completely collapses. In SealM, speed matters more than difficulty during early progression. You want areas where you can clear mobs smoothly, maintain momentum, and avoid downtime. Some experienced players are already optimizing routes where they can continuously farm without stopping, and honestly, that's where the real advantage starts appearing. Now let's talk about one of the biggest hidden systems in Season 3. Event timing. A lot of rewards are tied to participation windows, activity rankings, and seasonal systems. That means logging in at the right times can actually matter more than raw grinding hours. Casual players especially need to understand this, because if you only have limited time every day, you can't afford to waste it randomly wandering around maps. Smart players focus on high-value activities first, then use remaining time for farming. This is probably the biggest difference between players who feel stuck and players who always seem ahead of everyone else. And honestly, resource management is another area where beginners completely destroy their own progress. New players love upgrading every piece of gear they find, burning currencies too early, and panic spending materials because they want instant power. But in grind-heavy games like Seal, long-term progression matters way more than short-term excitement. A lot of early game equipment becomes irrelevant very quickly, so overinvesting too early can slow you down later when stronger upgrades appear. The smartest approach is usually controlled progression. Upgrade enough to farm comfortably, but don't waste everything immediately trying to look powerful during your first few hours. Something else players don't realize yet is how important competition density is becoming in Season 3 right now. Some farming zones are already overcrowded because everyone watches the same beginner guides and rushes into the same maps, but overcrowded maps usually mean lower efficiency, slower farming, and more frustration. This is why experienced MMO grinders are constantly adapting. Sometimes a slightly weaker map with fewer players becomes more profitable than the best map everyone is fighting over. Understanding this mindset is honestly one of the hidden skill gaps in MMORPG farming. Those strongest players are not always the ones with the best gear. They're usually the ones who understand efficiency better than everybody else. Now, for casual players watching this video and wondering if Season 3 is still worth playing, I honestly think yes. But only if your expectations are realistic. You probably won't dominate hardcore leaderboard grinders who spend all day optimizing routes, but SealM still feels much more accessible than many complicated crypto games. You can still make steady progression by staying active, participating in events, and building your account consistently over time. That's one of the reasons the game is attracting both MMO players and crypto audiences right now. It actually feels playable instead of just being a token farming simulator. And honestly, I think that's the biggest strength of SealM so far. The game understands that retention matters. Small progression rewards, active grinding loops, daily systems, seasonal competition. All of these mechanics are designed to keep players coming back every day. And when you combine that with the Season 3 reward pool, people naturally start becoming more competitive about optimization. So if you're starting right now, don't focus on trying to become the #1 player overnight. Focus on building efficient habits early, because that's what creates long-term progression in games like this. Anyway, those are the biggest farming tips and beginner mistakes you should know before diving deeper into SealM Season 3. In the next video, I'm going to break down the best classes for beginners, which builds are easiest for farming, and which plays actually work best for casual players versus hardcore grinders. So if you want to avoid ruining your progression early, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment telling me whether you're playing casually or grinding hard this season, and I'll see you in the next one.